So going off, building ARM SoCs, building very interesting devices that are capable of doing real computing for days or for months, you end up with an opportunity that's billions of units a year. And again, I don't break it out by notebooks, I don't break it out by desktops, I don't break it out by smartphones or superphones or tablets. They're fundamentally all the same architecturally. It's just a choice of form factor. I don't believe there'll be any more portable devices that are big and thick and heavy. They'll all be thin and beautiful and have much longer battery life. And so again, for Taiwan, for NVIDIA, and for ARM, there's a huge opportunity. There's always a but. So there is a challenge, right? Nobody is willing to give up their performance. Everybody wants to be able to do the same kinds of things they do on their current computer, and the batteries haven't gotten any larger. They really, the compromise that people are willing to make is very small. So what that said is we've had to go off as partners of ARM and as SoC suppliers to go off and find some way to solve that problem, to try to find some way to go off and bring these devices to market that let people not have to make that compromise. And there's a really simple way that it's done. It's called innovation. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how NVIDIA does that, talk a little bit about what we've done. And I think what you'll see when we talk about this is the advantage of a model where there's an open architecture, an open instruction set, where we can all go off and I can do things the way that I think are going to be better for computer companies, and my competitors can do the same thing, and we all draw on our heritage, on the past that we've grown up with. So we introduced our third generation Tegra about 2 weeks ago. It's about 2 years after our first generation, so we're all operating now on a PC cadence. Those people that wanted to do things every 2 or 3 years, those days are gone. It's all about doing things now at a PC cadence, which is about once a year. It's a dramatically higher performance than the generation before this, and the generation before this is what nearly all Honeycomb tablets are based on, and about 60 phones around the world are based on. It is a quad-core processor. So about 3 years ago, I went on the road and talked to all my customers, and I told them I'm going to come out with a 1 gigahertz dual-core processor to go in your smartphone. And they all sort of smiled and were very polite to me. And then when I left, they said I was crazy. Nobody wants a 2 gigahertz worth of processing power in your smartphone. You won't be able to do it in the right power anyways. So now look to today. After CES of last year and what shipped, dual-core, if you don't have dual-core in your smartphone, you're behind. And everybody else has gone down that path. So then I was lucky enough a year later to go on the road and said, well, we're not done yet. Next, you're going to have quad-core in your phone. And then they thought I was really crazy. Why on earth would you want that? It'll be so high power, it'll never work. You NVIDIA guys are off in the weeds. So we went out, we introduced this device at Mobile World Congress, and we told people, hey, don't worry, it's higher performance than any device that's out there right now, and it's going to be lower power than any dual-core. And again, I think when I left the room, they probably snickered and sent me on my way. So we're seeing the first devices launch with us right now. I showed you before the Transformer Prime. It's launching. It'll be in the markets in a couple of weeks. It is lower power than any dual-core SoC doing what that dual-core SoC can do. So do anything on your dual-core tablet, your dual-core smartphone, even on your Tegra 2, the quad-core will be lower power. It'll be significantly higher performance, obviously. So one of the ways we were able to accomplish this was because we can go off and innovate around the ARM architecture. So we told people this was quad-core, and it was only about a month ago that I said, well, I'm actually joking. It's actually 5 cores. And Tudor talked a little about the little big concept. Well, we started that quite a while ago, and we've done the same thing. So I've got a quad-core processor, and then I've got a 5th core, and it operates bimodally with this 4-core processor. So what happens is similar to what was described before, when you're doing things that don't require a lot of processing power. Things like active standby. It's downloading email in the background. You're even doing HD video. The only thing that's on is this very low power companion core. It's just sipping power. All the other processor cores, all the other CPUs, everything else is turned off. So now I'm operating at an amazing low power use case or state and I'm sitting with a quad-core processor. Then when I want to do really great things, I want to do gaming, I want to do very fast processing, I turn that companion core off and I either use 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the other high-performance cores. And I only turn them on when I need them. And again, this is I'm capable of doing this because I go off, I get the IP, and I find a way to snap it together myself. Something the computer industry has never been able to do with an instruction set architecture. So it's pretty powerful that way. And then, when I'm done with my high-performance application, I turn it down. And I'm right back to the companion core and very low power. So as you see these quad-core devices come out, you will see amazing performance and amazing battery life. And you sort of scratch your head. You can now tell people how it happens. It's not magic, it's just architectural innovation. So I'm from NVIDIA. I have to do something about gaming, right? So people have, for a long time, said, well, it's just casual gaming. I don't care what it looks like. The Pong kind of gaming, right? So we don't believe that. We believe people are going to want an amazingly immersive experience. And the better it looks, the more they're going to want more. So what we've done is we've gone off and we've worked with a bunch of developers and we put together a bunch of games you can get on the Android marketplace through an application called TegraZone. And I'm going to show you sort of a glimpse into the future of what some of those other games are going to look like coming forward. And it'll make you smile. They're truly amazing. So let's see what those look like.
In Bladeslinger, you play as a hero who's come home after years away at war, comes home to find someone or something has corrupted everyone in the town. And so you're on a chase, basically, to find out what's happened and cure the town of this corruption.
Shadowgun is third-person shooter. You play bounty hunter. You will shoot a lot of mutants, explore highly detailed environments, and even solve logical puzzles.
Riptide GP is a futuristic jet ski racing game. All of the jet skis in the game leave realistic wakes behind them so that when you're going around corners, you're in the chop behind the other racers, you can really feel yourself bouncing up and down in those wakes. On Tegra 3, we've added a number of enhancements for Riptide GP. One of the biggest enhancements that people will notice right away is that the frame rate is a lot higher and a lot more smooth. We have a lot of pretty complicated physics simulation going on with the water, and so the Ford CPUs in the Tegra 3 is able to handle that a lot better. We've added a camera splash effect. You get little splashes of droplets on the screen that kind of run realistically off of the camera as you're going forward. We've also added a motion blur effect for boosting, and it really makes it feel like you're going fast.
When we started to develop Shadowgun, we were concerned about what technology can power such graphical demanding application, and Tegra 3 proved to be perfect match. For Tegra 3 version, we have more GPU power, so we added per pixel specular highlights, which adds a lot of detail to the scenes.
On multiple CPUs, we can generate animated textures, do damage effect, aging effect, weathering effects that will improve the gaming experience.
Other thing that gamers will obviously notice is the increase in the frame rate, because it will run 60 frames per second. We aim at 60 frames per second, and it's locked down at 30 frames per second on all other Android devices.
And all this is generated using the additional CPUs of Tegra 3, and this is the kind of thing that are impossible to do if you don't have additional CPUs.
So the Tegra 3 has been wonderful for us because, Bladeslinger already pushes the envelope in the visual front for mobile devices alone. The multi-core system in Tegra allows us to push that even further. So we're able to get away with things like cloth simulation, advanced light systems, ragdoll physics, more enemies on screen. The possibilities are endless. So from a design standpoint, it really opens the doors for us. We can blue sky as though we were designing for the latest generation consoles. Bladeslinger on Tegra 3 will be the most visually impressive, immersive game available on mobile devices.
Shadowgun on Tegra 3 will look more beautiful and more engaging than on any other mobile device.
Riptide GP on Tegra 3 is the best jet ski racing game on any mobile platform.
That's pretty cool stuff. So about half of smartphone users regularly game on their devices. About 80% of tablet users do. So if you're going to do that, you might as well have an amazing experience. I mean, for those of you that are gamers, it was only a couple of years ago that this would be state of the art on a full-size desk-side computer with all the bells and whistles. So let's talk a little bit about these mobile devices and how they actually go into different markets. So if you recall, when people used to carry their computers to their friend's house and go do gaming with each other, they'd set up a little network in the living room. Now you can take your superphone or your Android tablet, you carry it in your backpack, you set it on the counter in front of your television, you run HDMI to the television, and you use your Bluetooth controller from your Wii or your PlayStation, and you have a full-blown gaming device. It's truly amazing, right? The whole idea of mobile gaming is now taking on a whole new image. You literally carry the device in your pocket, and you can go off and have a great experience. And not only in 2D, you can do it in 3D. With Tegra 3, you go off, you plug it in over HDMI. The games are automatic. Any OpenGL game is automatically turned into a 3D game, and now you've got a 3D immersive experience out HDMI sitting in front of your television. It's again, something that people wouldn't have even imagined a year or two ago. And these are all mobile devices, mobile computers. So finally, one of the things that Tudor talked about is going into different regions or going into different markets. So I know we're talking about mobile computing, but I had to put this in there because I think it shows the breadth of products that are capable. So 2 days ago at the Supercomputer 2011 conference in Seattle, Washington, there was an announcement made that a Tegra-based SoC will be used by the Barcelona Supercomputer Center in a supercomputer. So it'll be an ARM-based CPU. It was announced earlier we were partnering with ARM on their next generation ARM CPU. We've got an architectural license, so we're going to go in a place where maybe we're the only one that's going to go for a while, but we're going to enable another marketplace. So we're going to take a great ARM CPU that we're going to build, we're going to put a GPU with that, and we're going to put 256 of them together. And so now we'll have a full CUDA system with GPUs, ARM CPUs, and ultimately this is the march to the exascale project. The one thing that's in the way of supercomputers' growth is power. And now we're going to solve part of that problem, and it's going to allow us all to innovate and to move a lot quicker. So when you're thinking about your teeniest ARM processor, think about there's going to be some pretty amazing Tegra devices and supercomputers in the not too distant future. And again, it still is because we've remembered that we've got to make sure we are the most efficient architecture from a performance per milliwatt, even in big systems like this. And then finally, you know, I end a lot of the presentations with a slide because I really do believe that when we meet in another year, this is what your desktop is going to look like at home. It's going to have a bunch of really beautiful, elegantly thin devices that are super low power, that have the performance of your current notebook and desktop computer right now. There'll be a smartphone, there'll be a tablet, there'll be Windows on ARM. There's probably going to be a bigger system somewhere else in the house where you're generating content. But only a year or two ago, this was sort of space age. The reality is this is where we are now. And the group of people here in Taiwan, our partners, our ability to go off and rapidly go off and take advantage of the technology that exists, we can innovate and make this and make it a reality. So with that, I thank you.
热烈掌声，谢谢 Mr. Michael Rayfield 的精彩演说。